Hello everybody and welcome to Energetic Principles Report for the Sun in Gemini. The Sun will be moving into Gemini on May 20th at 1:31 p.m. Pacific Time and will remain there for the whole stay until June 20th when we have our summer solstice and the Sun moves into Cancer. In today's video we're going to talk about the Sun in Gemini and what overall themes that we can expect when the Sun moves into Gemini. We're going to talk about the monthly transits, some pinpoint dates to watch out for to where there could be more action going on during this period. We're going to talk about horoscopes for each sign to see where the Sun in Gemini is going to be lighting up your sign and rising sign for the next 30 days. And then we're also going to see what the tarot has to say about this Gemini transit. So stay tuned and I'll be right back.
And may the stars be with you.
So Gemini is the I think consciousness, and boy does Gemini like to think. Gemini loves to share ideas and communications and just has an immediate perception about it where, you know, things come in and they come out and they come in and they come out. And there's always a curiosity that's intrigued by all the stimulus that's constantly happening. So if you're a Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, you know, you'll understand this. It's just part of your nature. Other people might not be like that normally. So this is a time when the Sun moves into Gemini where we can all really embrace our communication skills and be a little bit more or have a little more perception about certain things that are going on, and to really just embrace our curiosity, because when something at this time can come around to our awareness that you might just spark a little bit of curiosity, and you wouldn't have normally gone there to begin with, but just because you're intrigued, you're going to give it a go, and you might find yourself down a path that you weren't quite expecting, and it could be for the good. So now is the time to really embrace any type of curiosity you might have, or any perceptions that are coming in that are intriguing. Another thing about Gemini is just it loves to verbalize all the connections it makes in its head. All those perceptions that are coming in and coming out, where do you think they're going to go? Right out the mouth, right out the mouth of a Gemini. So there's going to be a lot of conversation going on right now, and it'll be charged. People will be passionate about the things that they say, and they're just going to want to talk turkey for maybe no good reason. But Gemini usually has a reason when it expresses itself and talks out its intellectual process with others. And that being is that when it shares that and it gets that verbal communication out, it starts to learn about itself. It takes in more awareness by sharing what it's thinking and the thoughts it's come across and just the overall perceptions with another person. That kind of ping pong back and forth of conversation is what really shines a light of awareness into the Gemini, and which can do that for us right now for the next 30 days as the Sun's in Gemini, whether you're a Gemini or not. So we have that to look forward to. But it's just going to be a time that's a little bit lighter than the whole Taurus period. And we can just get out there and socialize more and make some friends and just talk it out and have a good time and see what new perceptions come your way. Okay, so let's talk about the transits and bigger aspects we're going to have during this Gemini cycle. What really sticks out to me that I'm actually not going to talk too much about, but it's going to be reflected in the horoscopes that we'll talk about in just a little bit down the road in this video, is that we're going to have a grand trine in fire. Now that the North Node has moved into Leo, and then we have Saturn in Sagittarius and Uranus in Aries, we're sitting at this late degree trine of fire that's really kind of has an effervescent bubble under the surface. To where there's just like this passion that's lying below everything that is happening during this month cycle, and it really is in line with, you know, our soul's purpose and a purposeful direction. So pay attention to all that insight and intuition that's happening right now with that fiery nature, fiery underbelly that's happening. And speaking of Saturn and Sagittarius, I really think Saturn is kind of the star of this Gemini period, where Saturn's not usually a star by choice. No one is putting Saturn up on the pedestal usually, but sometimes Saturn is the star out of necessity, and Saturn is all about necessity, and really getting down to brass tacks about what you need and what you don't, and kind of paring away and constricting oneself. In a sense. So I would say the two main themes, which we're going to go into in a few and will be reflected in the horoscopes, is the fact that the Sun and Mars in Gemini will be opposing Saturn and Sagittarius. First Mars, and then later on the Sun will wrap that transit up. So let's see what the transits have to say. The first date we want to look at is May 25th, and that's the new moon in Gemini. And coincidentally, we will have Venus squaring Pluto that day, which might not be the most fun of aspects, but I think, Venus has been getting such a makeover with its retrograde cycle, it being in Aries, which is a tough place for it to be. It's kind of been put through the ringer. So this is kind of like a final... not a final, but close to a last hurrah for Venus and its readjustment of sorts. So I'm thinking that with this new moon, in Gemini, we're a lot of new information and just a new perceptual awareness is going to be coming to us, or new messages, or new opportunities for communications with others, and to share, and to socially network, and just get yourself out there. And it's just kind of a lighter side that we're beginning at this time. But with that Venus square Pluto, sometimes before we get to the lightness, we kind of got to go through the dark. And so Venus, I think Venus in Aries is really going to be challenging you to be, that Pluto is challenging you to be honest with yourself. We've all spent so much time on these new aspects of our identity that we're putting forward. So Pluto is really asking you to get in touch with yourself and to be completely honest to where you're opening yourself up. We might be still opening ourselves up to certain things that no longer work for us anymore, or we might still be holding ourselves back in a way, and we need to open up and need to become a little bit more independent about something. And, because there's that loose opposition to Jupiter that's still happening at this time. So the question is, be honest with yourself where you shouldn't open up. So the next day we're going to talk about is Sunday, May 28th, and that is the Mars opposition to Saturn, which I was speaking of earlier. So this is going to be our first opposition pass with Saturn and Sagittarius, as of recently. And, Saturn is kind of as I was saying, Saturn's kind of the main star for this month's journey. So Mars, Mars in Gemini is kind of, speaking from experience, since I have Mars in Gemini, doesn't have the focus it might need sometimes. It's kind of here, it's there, it can go off on tangents, it's curiosity to the max. But Saturn could be asking you to tighten up in that area and tighten up that focus, and maybe not get so distracted, and to weed out certain things and ideas you might have had, or actions you were thinking about taking, or maybe actions you already took. And where we can constrict ourselves and pull ourselves in at this time to be a little less impulsive about things, because we're trying to build something. That's what we've been doing with this whole Taurus cycle, and Saturn is all about foundation and creating these big solid structures based on hard work and perseverance, that earthly quality. So Mars is going to be challenged in a sense to where it can tighten its belt. Where can it get a little more, rein itself in, so that we can really progress and innovate these things that we're trying to build and get them off the ground? Because without that solidifying of our action energy, we might not get to where we might get to where we're going, but it's going to take us a heck of a lot longer. and it's going to be a lot more frustrating. So see where Saturn is calling to you at this time to kind of tighten up and restrict your Martian self. All right, so the next date I have for you is Friday and Saturday, June 2nd and 3rd. And this is going to be a kind of an exciting one. We'll talk back to Venus here. Venus is going to be conjuncting Uranus in Aries. And then the sun is also going to be trining Jupiter in Libra. So this could be an exciting time for sure. You know, we're going to be opening ourselves up to like a fresh new version of ourselves, you know, because we've been doing all this work in Aries that we were just talking about. And it's time to, you know, kind of shake off that old skin and try some new things, try sharing that new version of ourselves with others. Because we got to test it out sometime, right? You know, and what better time when sun is trining Jupiter, where we're allowed to expand. We feel that freshness in the air, and that all those opportunities that could be around the corner. And that could just be it, you know, especially with Uranus in conjunction there. You know, something can come out of the blue that will lead us either further down our path that we started, or maybe send us on another little avenue that we can take our curiosity down. But just know that during this time, open yourself up, because what you might find, you might not expect, and it can be a really beneficial and great thing that happens to you. So the next day we're going to talk about is Friday, June 9th, when we're going to have our full moon in Sagittarius. And we're also, it's also the day that Jupiter is going to station direct. Jupiter has been retrograde for quite some time now, and it is finally going to go forward. And Jupiter going forward is, you know, like Jupiter's all about expansion, so you would think it'd be going forward constantly. But when it retrogrades, it's a lot of expansion and just going further in ourselves internally. So we've been like this flower that's basically been blooming inside the whole time. But now we can get those seeds out there and let people see that bloom that's been happening inside will be more external. And we'll start to see new paths and new opportunities open up. More Jupiterian opportunities that we can really start moving forward in our lives now. Because it's been retrograde for so long. So this is a little special cosmic juice that I think is going to be happening, and especially when it comes to those Libra themes of partnership and fairness, equality, and just overall just more beauty in life. So we'll also have the full moon in Sagittarius, and so there is going to be an emotional apex having to do with basically thoughts, your intellect, your communication with your beliefs and your bigger picture. And I have a feeling we're going to see some politics probably blow up at this time, because what better time? You know, the ninth house also rules politics. So just be aware on June 9th or the, you know, days leading up to it, or maybe slightly after that, we'll probably see once again another political storm of some sort. So look out for that. But I'll have a full video on the full moon when the time comes. So the last date period we're going to talk about is June 14th through 16th, which is Wednesday through Friday. And that is when the sun will make its opposition with Saturn. So the Mars has already come around in its opposition. Now the sun is there to shine awareness and really get us in touch with all the Saturn work that we've been doing. I predict a breakthrough of some sort, because you can only have so much Saturn for so long before you finally, you know, get somewhere, right? So I'm really hoping that that's a good day for all of us. And it's not just a day, it's a couple days leading up, it's a couple days after. And coincidentally, Neptune goes retrograde that day too. So a lot of the fogginess and the confusion and, you know, like just that will kind of take a break from the outside world and internalize itself. But yeah, so sun opposing Saturn, you know, I think we're really going to gain some light into our Saturn struggles over the last month. and experience a breakthrough in what we've been building, what we've been trying to get a solid foundation on, and all those changes we've made, and where we've pared down in our life is really going to be showing progress at this time if we've done the work. All right, so let's talk horoscopes. So I focused the horoscopes on this grand trine in fire paired with this Mars and Sun opposition to Saturn. And so our format is basically, where are we gaining awareness on how to assert ourselves, where we need to restrict or constrict, and where we might see breakthrough through those actions. So let's get started. Okay, Aries, let's get started. So where you're going to gain awareness on how to correctly assert yourself during this Gemini period is where you're asserting in your communication, in your voice, your intellect, how your mind works. How are you asserting those things either internally or out there to the public? Because Saturn is going to ask you to constrict a little in how you express your thoughts and beliefs, and to maybe rein in some of that preacher-esque attitude, or just kind of constrict yourself in all the things that you do believe. Like, sometimes that's not the best thing to share with other people, or especially in a dogmatic sense. And when you always think you're right, that could come off wrong. And I'm not saying that you do feel that way, but those areas could come up in your life at this time. So if you gain awareness in how you're communicating, and you pull that back a little to do so effectively, you're really going to see a breakthrough in your personality and your identity and just your overall image. There will be a new you that's born from these considerations. Okay, so for the Taurus, this Gemini cycle, you're going to be gaining awareness on how you assert yourself regarding abundance and how much you can draw in, not only financially, but just an overall sense of well-being, and most importantly, self-worth. Are you going after and getting what it is that your just deserves? Because you are worth it, Taurus, and you know it. If anyone knows it, it's Taurus. So get in touch with your own inner self that already knows what you're worth at this time. But the area where we're going to want to constrict is you're going to look at how much you actually desire, how many things you want to possess, whether they're things or people or what have you. And do you need to possess them? Are these desires, are they just wants or are they needs? So you're going to want to ask yourself, in order to gain that abundance, where do you need to cut back from all the stuff that you want? And also it's asking you, how much are you asking of other people? Are you pretty demanding to where other people, you expect things from other people, and you expect other people to kind of validate your self-worth and your own abundance? I would look outside of how they're influencing you, and go and draw in and really get strong in the self and your own ability to create that abundance. Because where you're going to break through is actually in your fears and your subconscious patterns that have been holding you back, that might make you want to desire these things, or control these people, or expect this and expect that, or not go after what you truly deserve. So look for a breakthrough in that area. All right, Gemini, this month is your month. It's your birthday period. What better way to be rejuvenated than with the sun moving in your sign? So Gemini, we're going to have, you're going to gain awareness into your identity, and you're going to gain awareness into how you assert your identity. Not only are you getting an identity makeover, but you might be challenged on it a little bit. To how you're asserting yourself as an individual. Are you doing so forcefully, or are you bulldozing your way through, or are you not really saying what it is you need to say and kind of holding back, and you might need to assert yourself more. Whatever it is going to be challenged at this time, because Saturn is going to be asking you to constrict in the area of partnerships. How much do you give? How much do you take? How much do you separate yourself from other people, or discriminate against certain people, or how much do you just fully give it away and then you're kind of codependent at that point? So Gemini is going to be getting a full-on makeover with just their sense of identity and their selves, and they're going to pull back a little from the partnership. So where you're going to see the breakthrough is in your overall goals, like what you're going for in life. And you're going to be able to have breakthroughs in how you can share yourself in friendships and just in groups and organizations, and what you can bring to the table as an individual. So I can see a lot of breakthrough coming with your ultimate overall goals at this time. All right, my fellow crabs, Cancer. How are we gaining awareness into how we assert ourselves during this Gemini period? Well, we're really looking at our hopes and wishes, like what are deep down we hope and wish for and want to see happen, and maybe what the fears and subconscious impulses are holding us back from allowing that to manifest. We're getting into the deep soul garden and weeding a lot of our spiritual self. This is a karmic kind of place to be. So that being said, with Saturn in the mix trying to constrict ourselves, it's really asking us to take a good look at our day-to-day activities, and see where we're helping and hurting in that department. Have we eliminated the non-essentials? Have we looked at what our bad habits might be that are time wasters or aren't really focused on our ultimate dreams that we have? So now's the time for us to pare back on our everyday routine, so that we can get it in line with what it is that we really want to manifest in our lives. And we're going to be in a healthier place for it. So if we do that work, we're going to see breakthrough in our career and legacy, something we've been working on for quite some time. And there's probably been some twists and turns along the road. But we are getting there. And if you do this work during the Gemini cycle, right before our next month's period of Cancer, where there's kind of like a new birth for all us Cancer suns, we're going to see a lot of breakthrough in that area. So career and legacy, look out. All right, Leo the lion. So Leos, where are you going to be gaining awareness in how you assert yourself during this Gemini period? Well, the Leo is going to be learning how you work in friendships and in group settings, and what organizations you're tied to. And, are you with the right people? Do you belong where you are right now? Or is there's some type of disconnect, or, something needs to be changed in that department, to really support your overall goals and what it is that you want to get out of life. Are you aligning with the right people? Or are you going down the road to align yourself with the right people? So Saturn's asking you to actually constrict yourself in Leo areas that are very natural for you, it could be having to do with your own personal self and how much attention you need, and being front and center. You might have to pull that back so that the group can benefit at this time. Maybe you need to get a little bit more active and not have so much pleasurable time, so that you can contribute to these groups or organizations or new goals that you have set for yourself. You got to kind of buckle up in that area, and give a little bit more of yourself, but for others, so that your identity is a piece of this bigger puzzle. because that's where you're going to experience breakthrough, is in your own beliefs and how you understand things and how you understand life in general. There's going to be a breakthrough in that department to where you can kind of reform your beliefs in life, and you can take yourself somewhere that you haven't been before. It's like expanding your horizon is where that breakthrough can happen, especially if it's focused around your goals and trying things that are a little out of your comfort zone. All right, Virgos. So where are you going to be gaining awareness and asserting yourself in this Gemini cycle? Well, your overall theme is going to be, how you're asserting yourself regarding your career and your overall success in life. Are you really putting yourself out there? Are you trying? Are you trying too hard? Are you not trying enough? This transit is really going to shine some light on how to get your career up and running. So Saturn's asking you to constrict yourself in the home and family and your foundation. Are you spending too much time at home where no one can see you, like you're all holed up and spending time with the family, or just spending time in reflection and an emotional state of sorts without getting yourself out there into the public? Have there been any childhood fears that have been with you a long time that are holding you back in this department, that keep you from really blossoming in society's eyes and the gifts that you can give to people in your career and what it is you build in your version of success? So if you do that work and kind of pull yourself away from that element, you're going to see breakthrough in your ability to ask and acquire and receive things from other people. Collaborating with others is where you're going to see some type of breakthrough at this time in your career and your legacy, because sometimes we don't have all the resources we need, and those few bits that are remaining are going to be not only given but strengthened from someone else coming into the picture. So I would look at this time to boost that career. Where can you collaborate? The Libras. Okay, so where are you going to be gaining awareness and asserting yourself during this Gemini period? Well, your Sun and Mars are going to be moving through the area of how you express your thoughts and beliefs, and what beliefs you actually have, and how aggressive you are at sharing those with other people. Because our beliefs make up our whole reality. So, that's why they get so testy when sometimes you share them with other people that don't agree. There can be a little friction there. So Saturn is asking you to constrict yourself with how you exchange your ideas and your communication style, and where can you par back so that you get the right information out there without pushing the wrong buttons. So if you can ask yourself that at this time, you're going to see breakthrough in your long-term partnerships and your husbands and your wives and your boyfriends and your girlfriends and your best friends and even those enemies. There might be a little breakthrough in that department. So Gemini is really asking you to get in touch with your beliefs and to par back how it is that you share those. All right, Scorpios. So where are you going to be asserting yourself and gaining awareness during this Gemini cycle? Well, we're going to shine a light on basically how well we are able to ask and receive things from other people. Where can we collaborate with others, and are we taking the initiative to really ask for help? And the resources that we personally lack, where can we look outside of ourselves to help fill in the gaps, in a sense. So we're going to be asserting ourselves more in these collaborations and our ability to ask things of other people. And Saturn is asking to constrict in the area of finance and just your own wants and desires and trying to obtain physical things, because now might be the perfect time to just start saving some money. Might be a little low in that area, and it's time to kind of buckle down, get really in touch with what it is that you need in a day-to-day reality, not what you want, what you need, because we might want to save those pennies for a rainy day, when there's going to be a little bit more action down the road, and we're going to need that money. So if you do the constricting and you put yourself out there to ask for help from others, you're going to see just an overall breakthrough in your daily lifestyle, how you work, within that day, and just your healthful routine overall. It'll just be a new day-to-day reality. All right, for our Sagittarius. So what does this Gemini cycle have for you? Well, you're going to be gaining awareness on how you assert yourself in your long-term partnerships. How assertive are you is the question, because Saturn is asking you to constrict in yourself. Like literally yourself, are you asserting yourself too much, and trying to take charge of certain situations? Are you acting in self-interest a little too often, when really you should be considering the partnership more and being more on a fair, equal balance? So you're going to be asked to see where you can pull back, not to lose your individuality by any means, but sometimes you have to just sacrifice just a little bit of it so that you can have a smooth partnership and allow that to run on a more even playing ground. Because if you do this work, you're going to actually see breakthroughs in your love life, and just how you really embrace joy every day. There will be just more of a joyful day-to-day reality if you are able to make these changes. And you're also going to see a breakthrough, if you're a parent, in your children and how you relate to them and how much love you can give in that department. So just basically a breakthrough in love overall. If you're really allow yourself to just give a little less of you to help be more of us, which will gain love for all. All right, our Capricorns. So what's in store during this Gemini cycle for you? Well, the Capricorns are going to be gaining awareness on how they assert themselves in their day-to-day reality, in their work life, and in their health. How active are you in going after what it is you need in a healthful fashion on a day-to-day basis? Saturn is really asking you to constrict yourself in the area of your subconscious and your fears and the things that the things that come from sources that you're unsure of, but you feel it and it holds you back for some reason. So it's asking you to kind of pair that in and really get control of that and see how it affects your day-to-day reality. And if you're able to do that, then you're really going to see a lot of breakthrough in the overall way you nurture yourself, and your foundation. Some childhood things can be released at this time, which actually could tie into those fears. So it'll be a breakthrough to give you a way more solid ground to stand on than you have been able to stand on, and that's just based on your own foundation in your home and your family and the support that's given to you there, and the support that you get from yourself. All right, Aquarius. So what do you have in store for this Gemini period? Well, the Aquariuses are going to be gaining awareness on how to assert themselves in their own creativity, in their own ways of finding joy and love from their hearts. Are you giving into your own creative wishes? Could you use some me time at this time, so you can get more in touch with your own self and your own heart? Because Saturn is really asking you to constrict in the area of, how you share your observations and your participation with other people in bigger group settings, or friendships, or you know, how much are you participating outside yourself and giving time to these organizations or groups, etc., where you might have to pull that back in, and or really rein in your friend base. Like, are you around the right people at this time? Like, maybe you're trying to spread yourself too thin in the friend department, and you gotta pare it down and spend some me time getting in touch with your creativity, and just what the heart's trying to express at this time, because that area is lit up, and it's a very positive place to be if you allow it to happen. So if you do those things, you're probably going to see breakthrough in your own mind, like your intellect and how you communicate and your thought processes, and everything that happens up here is going to receive just a breakthrough of consciousness, so that you can really look at things and think things, and probably embrace your own creative intellectualism in a different way. All right, last but certainly not least is our Pisces, our fishies. So what is Pisces encountering in this Gemini cycle? Well, the Pisces are going to be gaining awareness into how they assert themselves in their own nurturing and taking care of their own emotional foundation. You know, how what's your home life looking at right now? Are you giving enough attention to that? Are you feeling a little angry in the home, or a little kind of nitpicky, or what have you? You know, like outside sources are really kind of picking at your home life a little bit. So you're being asked to constrict yourself at this time, actually, in how much you're striving for your career. And are you taking on too much responsibility at this time, or are you just striving too hard? Like, sometimes you can't really force things. Sometimes you got to pull back and like constrict yourself in that area, on how much you really take on, and as a role in the society. You know, your authority could be challenged at this time in some way, which can be a little disconcerting. So just know that you might have to pull back in the public arena at this time, so that you can gain more of an, foundational strength in your own nurturing and emotional self. And so if you do that work, you're going to see breakthrough in your own concept of self-worth, like how much worth you actually have, and your ability to draw in abundance. And of course that has to do with money, but it's not just money. I mean, abundance is just feeling, content and whole in life, and having everything we need, and being in a joyful place. And so if you pull back at this time from these societal issues, you're going to see that you're going to be breaking, just that self-nurturing is going to help you break through in your own ability to create the abundance you need. Okay, so let's see what the tarot has to say about this Sun in Gemini cycle. Okay, so here we have the High Priestess as our focus, and the Three of Swords as our grounding. Well, it's an interesting combination of cards. I find it very appropriate for the High Priestess to be our focus card, since the High Priestess represents a sense of duality, which is very Gemini in nature, where there's kind of this and that, and this and that, and this side and that side, the dark, the light, etc. So the insights that can be coming right now can be of twofold. Like, you can be looking at it from two different angles, because really the purpose of the High Priestess is to see beyond the obvious, see beyond what's there, because the answer actually lies in the depths. It's already within us. It's where our intuition lies, and how we can fully gain insight by just going in and listening to ourselves, because the answers are all there if we're receptive enough. So now's really the time to focus on acknowledging your own shadow, and how you can kind of use that darkness to break free. So that being paired with the Three of Swords, which is not the most pleasant card for anybody, really. Usually you get it, if you know anything about tarot, you get it and you're like, oh, I want to get this card. But it has to do with heartbreak and turmoil and, just general sorrow and loss in life. So this being the grounding card, it's asking us to really get in touch with that loss that we've felt, or the turmoil that has been going on within us, and to find an answer to that so that we can heal, because we have the answer if we listen. We just have to allow ourselves to. So another thing with the Three of Swords is that it can be tied with lies and cheating and betrayal of some sort. So there can be some secrets going around that you might have to confront what you're dealing with, or try to confront what you're dealing with head on. Like, don't pretend it doesn't exist if you know something's wrong. Because you might be let down by someone at this time, or you might be let down by yourself, like how honest are you being with yourself? So a dream that you once held that's close to your heart might have fallen through, and now you have to come back from that, and in your awareness is letting you know that it's okay, it's all right, just work through it, because really, faith and self-love and just forgiveness is what you need at this time. So what I would say, if I were to ask some questions to these cards, I would say that, where may we be cheating ourselves? Because a lot of times we end up cheating ourselves. It's not even a source outside of us. We allow our own selves to have less because we don't want to focus on the truth of the situation. So, do you get a sense that someone's not being honest with you? Or are you not being honest with someone, and it's time to really look at that in a different light? Where is your intuition pointing you to help you deal with the turmoil that you've gone through recently, or maybe it's not even recent, it might be repressed and it's dredging itself back up, and it has to be finally let go for good. And lastly, what loss can we gain insight from so we can heal? Like, loss doesn't have to be completely lost. It's actually a gift. Most loss is a gift that once it's gone from our life, it really frees us up for something that's better for us. It's just we have trouble recognizing that, and we have trouble not having control over that situation. So now I would say that this would be an excellent cycle to go within and really get in touch with those inner knowings that you already have, that are going to help you work through some less than desirable situations at this time. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm so glad you could join me. And if you like what you saw, I would love if you could share it with a friend. It would be, I'd be more than appreciative. So if you'd like to find out more about me and perhaps get a reading, you can find me at energeticprinciples.com. You can find me also on Instagram at Energetic Principles, where I do daily updates on the transits with fun little pictures, and also on Facebook at Energetic Principles. So I have some exciting news. I would like to announce that I have teamed up with Shauna McGrath of Neo-Feminine Astrology, and we have started a podcast. It is called The Feminine Principle, Astrology for Authentic Living, and we will be premiering our first episode very shortly here. So if you'd like to find out some more information about that, you can see a link to the Podbean in my YouTube header and also on my website. And I really look forward to sharing that with you. We have a great rapport with each other. We're fellow San Diegans, and we just have a good time. Two Cancers having a good time. So I'd love it if you come check us out. So I hope you have a fabulous Gemini cycle, and get all the social energy and just a lighter side of life, and let that those intellect and thoughts come to you, and just have a good time. Right? Let's just have a good time. So as always, may the stars be with you.